good start to the day, your coffee, your photons, whatever. Hey, I have the ES chart, SP 500 futures up. That is a 2 hour consolidated. I removed all the drawings. I did that because you now have a clean view of what it looks like of where we were back in February, March, how we've kind of this the glide path on the way down, the glide path on the way up, and where we currently are. So right now I'm going to establish a line right there. That 30-33 area with where there was the attempt to get short yesterday. Um, you know where that's where it comes from. That basically that was a high back on 31st of March. That was a Sunday evening. That was a pre-market high. Um, so that's why that level had some significance. And you can see a number of other levels. It's like, so I'll kind of just go through here. So now this is not SPX. It's simply the ES. And I'm now throwing these levels up, these here, because, I mean, we've had a nice little move here. We've got some more data today. And in the event that we come off, as it pertains to ES, these levels could have some significance here. 5307.67 and 5285. So those would be areas that I would not be surprised if we have, and then it would be down to about 5267. If we were to have some sort of data that would cause us to sell off, we have this entire area to kind of fill in the volume. Because when we were up here last time, there were swift reactions. Up, reaction, we have to fill in this area. So now, while I think that's a high probability, I mean, this has been a big move, and there's serious buyers that have been lurking. So you can't think we won't stretch and reach for some new highs with the velocity that we've had. So that's the one thing that I'm trying to be mindful of. Let's see here. I'm now going to go to the SPX. I'm going to remove the drawings. Back to the 2 hour. I just want to get some sense on the SPX. Now notice how back in March, the highs were the 52.62. You're right around the time where the March expiration of futures contract that was expiring, and we rolled into the June. And right now, SPX, as it pertains to reaching for new highs, the cash contract, it's giving a tell of the strength in the market. And the fact that we're up in this area, it's like, and you see this now on SPX, you see this gap down here. That tells me on the SPX, it's like this would be the area that we would kind of pull back to. And with the spread being about 24, that would be 60, 70, about 5270 to 5280 would be a gap fill and a support area. But as it pertains to SPX, we haven't been up here before. So the market needs to kind of consolidate, fill in this area before it launches higher. If we have a continuation of a move up today and tomorrow, my guess is I would be really cautious with your longs in your long-term account and your brokerage account, because we'll definitely come off pretty hard to kind of come back and test those highs from March and fill this gap and just consolidate it here. So that's just like the bigger picture I want you to keep in mind. Yesterday was It was not the easiest day. I had two quality um, basically mean reversion trades. You know what? You don't know it's a trend day until it is a trend day, and that's just the unfortunate truth about it. And I mean, I had two shorts with some size. They were high probability shorts. You know, was able to take some decent points out of them, and I really just I wasn't I wasn't seeing it the move and the continuation up. So I basically backed off and did not participate. So I mean, I saw two high probability setups. I participated, and I didn't see any more, so I did not participate. That's really key. When in doubt, no. When in doubt, don't participate. Sit, chill, wait for your setup. Wait for a setup. Wait for confluence. That's the best way to protect your account. Um, at this point, that's all I have. We just have to see how the market opens, and we're going to let the market tell us what it wants to do. With that, I'll yield to Dan.
Thanks. Good morning. Share my screen. So a couple of things, and I won't go very long on ES because I thought what David said was pretty good. The only thing I'll break it down a little to this 1 hour chart here that is pretty ugly setup for bulls. I also yesterday was shorting the rally a couple of times and failed, and really looking back on it and journaling yesterday, there was really only one trade that I don't think I would take again, and that's sometimes just how it goes. So looking at this 1 hour volume profile here, and you've got this sort of rounded top pattern here that is starting to form. We're now back below the previous all-time high of 53.33.50. We also are below that, or we're just at that 53.30 level. Yesterday's volume point of control is 53.25. You can see just how thin we get if we get under this 53.25. You get below sort of that 50, so it's more, I'm going to move this one down to 53.20 because that's sort of that area of the volume profile, this rounded area here where you start to see that volume really fall off. If we see this 53.20 go, we get real thin down in here. This whole area, like David said, is going to need to be auctioned off and to fill in that volume profile if we're going to be continuing up. So I was asking Harvey this morning about the gamma profile because there's some stuff that I don't, it's sort of a harder dynamic to understand when you have sort of the inversing of the calls and the puts and what that means for the market. That's why I was asking him this morning, and he gave some insight on that. But that's sort of what I'm looking for today is this area here. And let me see if I can, where is it? Where's my rectangle? There it is. I'm looking for this area in here to fill in this volume profile, even up a little bit there. So that's sort of what I would like to see over the next couple of days if we want to continue higher. If we do continue higher today, it's not a trade that I'm all that interested in participating in, because I think it will be one of those grindy move ups that tend to be the death of me. So that's, for me, it's an uncomfortable trade to be in. So I'll just avoid it until we sort of get a breach of one of these levels. And then I want to see if we start to see some selling picking up, if we see some VIX buying at all-time highs. Bonds are coming off today on the data released this morning, which is not great for a move up. So I actually am leaning that we could get a decent little sell-off maybe this morning and then find some support. That's sort of what I'm going to be watching for to see if that happens. Nvidia's back below 950, which is helpful to that. If we do find some support, I think it's going to be in this 20 to 24 area, or 25, yesterday's volume point of control. If we lose that support, I think sort of what I'm thinking plays out, and that we come, and what David's thing is, we come back into this area and auction off sort of. We can look at it as this 53.0304. That was sort of that major level that broke out yesterday in the morning. Then you have 98 and then 94 as supports down there. If we did get down here to 94, that might be an interesting area to try along. Even at 53.03 up here, we have to watch and see the reaction, but there is some volume profile support there. There is some sort of action there. That could be an interesting area to see if that holds. If not, I think this area down here, 53 or 52.64 to 52.75, 77 area. I think this area does hold. So I don't see us getting down here today, maybe in the next day or so, but I think that there's a good chance that we could come down into this area here, this 52.20, and then come down to this 53.03 area. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. All right. Yeah, just to piggyback on what David and Dan was saying. I mean, we're definitely extended up here. Actually, in a long right now. I already took a scale and down to half size. 29 is my stop. So we'll see. The reason I took that trade is this red line here is a weekly pivot level, the same one that I took a short off of yesterday here. So we can talk more about that another time, but I'm definitely watching that. That's a key level here, 53.30.50. And then down here, this yellow line is the mid pivot on the daily. So I'd be looking at that 53.12 as a support on the downside, and then also this 53.19. Those are kind of my key levels on the downside. A little more difficult on the upside, obviously, this overnight high area at 53.43.50 or 43.25 is key. And then I was looking, we go back to this pattern here. The only thing really we have to guide us now are Fibonacci levels on the way up, because once we're broken out here, we don't have anything else to kind of look at on the levels. So until we get some sort of range around these areas, then we can start sort of filling in these areas a little bit better. So it's definitely sort of a cautious day on the upside. Like Dan said, participating on a grind higher can be tough, but also trying to mean revert those grind trend type days are sometimes difficult. I think I mentioned that yesterday. It was a tough day for mean reversion trades. And 90% of days are not trend days, although recently we've had quite a few. That's just the way it goes. So I am watching, this pattern take shape. We talked about this the last couple of weeks. this 52.90.50 level was the completion of a bearish bat pattern, which we've extended beyond. And I mentioned that we could end up in this what's called a crab territory, which takes us all the way up to 55.60.50. Obviously not today, but over the next week or so, we can definitely see how this progresses and look at these different levels higher as targets. Short term, this 53.74.25 is a 111 extension, so that's definitely something that could be in play today if we grind higher, and would be an area for, if you're looking for a mean reversion short, that would be a good spot, 53.74.25. So I'll be watching that. And on the indexes, that's pretty much it. I check back on SPY too to see where it's at. So I do keep an eye on that. It's the same development. It's just a little further ahead in its development. As far as individuals, NVIDIA obviously, had this big move yesterday. Looks like it wants to retrace a little bit. This 938 area will be key on the downside, and then a 963 target on the upside. So it's got a nice range potentially today. MACD is curling on the hourly here, so it does look like it wants to retrace a little bit. So you can watch that. I think, let me see, Netflix, again, looks like it's kind of in this flag, but also coming off of, something that looks like a bearish type setup. It had some news yesterday, had the reaction, and then kind of sold off. So that'd be an interesting one to watch for a short if the market does sell off. And Tesla, it broke out below this trend line yesterday. Again, yesterday it was kind of looking long. Today it's looking more short. Can probably come down into this 170 area, 171. Kind of looks like we had this inverse head and shoulders the other day that I mentioned, and now we're looking like a different head and shoulders. So inverse to a regular, kind of weird. But anyway, a measured move on that could really bring it down back to this 167 area. Excuse me, I'm a little congested today, but those are the things I'm watching. I don't know if you guys said you wanted to stay live for a bit. You want to do that here, or you want to do that within Discord?
We'll do it within Discord after the open.
Okay. All right.
I concur.
That's what we got, and I will close this down, and we'll be in the chat.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Good luck, everybody.
Thanks.